the hijackers in the September 11 attacks were 19 men affiliated with al-Qaeda, and 15 of the 19 were citizens of Saudi Arabia. The others were from the United Arab Emirates, Egypt and Lebanon. The hijackers were organized into 4 teams, each led by a pilot-trained hijacker with 4 muscle hijackers, who were trained to help subdue the pilots, passengers, and crew. The first hijackers to arrive in the United States were Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, who settled in the San Diego area in January 2000. They were followed by 3 hijacker-pilots, Mohamed Atta, Marwan al-Shehhi, and Ziad Jarrah mid-2000 to undertake flight training in South Florida. The 4th hijacker-pilot, Hani Hanjour, arrived in San Diego in December 2000. The rest of the muscle hijackers arrived in early and mid-2001. Background: the 2001 attacks were preceded by the less well-known Bajinka plot, which was planned in the Philippines by Ramzi Yousef and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Its objective was to blow up 12 airliners and their approximately 4,000 passengers as they flew from Asia to the United States. The plan included crashing a plane into the CIA headquarters, lending credence to the theory that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed evolved this plot into the September 11 attacks. The plot was disrupted in January 1995 after a chemical fire drew the Filipino police and investigation authorities' attention, resulting in the arrest of 1 terrorist and seizure of a laptop containing the plans. 1 person was killed in the course of the plot, a Japanese passenger seated near a nitroglycerin bomb on Philippine Airlines Flight 434. The money handed down to the plotters originated from al-Qaeda, the international Islamic jihadi organization then based in Sudan. Selection: Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi were both experienced and respected jihadists in the eyes of al-Qaeda leader, Osama bin Laden. Mihdhar and Hazmi both had prior experience fighting in Bosnia, and had trained during the 1990s at camps in Afghanistan. When bin Laden committed to the September 11 attacks plot idea, he assigned both Mihdhar and Hazmi to the plot. Both were so eager to participate in operations within the United States, that they obtained visas in April 1999. Once selected, Mihdhar and Hazmi were sent to the Mezanak training camp in Afghanistan. In late 1999, Hazmi, Attash, and Yemeni went to Karachi, Pakistan to see Mohammed, who instructed them on Western culture and travel. However, Mihdhar did not go to Karachi, instead returning to Yemen. As for the pilots who would go on to participate in the attacks, 3 of them were original members of the Hamburg cell. Following their training at al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan, they were chosen by bin Laden and al-Qaeda's military wing due to their extensive knowledge of Western culture and language skills, increasing the mission's operational security and its chances for success. The 4th intended pilot, Ramzi bin al-Shaib, a member of the Hamburg cell, was also chosen to participate in the attacks yet was unable to obtain a visa for entry into the United States. He was later replaced by Hani Hanjour, a Saudi national. Mihdhar and Hazmi were also potential pilot hijackers, but did not do well in their initial pilot lessons in San Diego. Both were kept on as muscle hijackers, who would help overpower the passengers and crew, and allow the pilot hijackers to take control of the flights. In addition to Mihdhar and Hazmi, 13 other muscle hijackers were selected in late 2000 or early 2001. All were from Saudi Arabia, with the exception of Fayez Beni Hamad, who was from the United Arab Emirates. Hijacked aircraft, American Airlines Flight 11 1 World Trade Center. Hijackers, Mohamed Atta, Abdulaziz al-Amari, Wael al-Shehhi, Walid al-Shehhi, Satam al-Sukami. 2 flight attendants called the American Airlines reservation desk during the hijacking. Bettion reported that the 4 hijackers had come from first-class seats, 2A, 2B, 9A, and 9B. Flight attendant Amy Sweeney called a flight services manager at Logan Airport in Boston and described them as Middle Eastern. She gave the staff the seat numbers and they pulled up the ticket and credit card information of the hijackers, identifying Mohamed Atta. Mohamed Atta's voice was heard over the air traffic control system, broadcasting messages thought to be intended for the passengers. United Airlines Flight 175 to World Trade Center. Hijackers, Marwan al-Shehhi, Fayez Beni Hamad, Mohamed al-Shehhi, Hamza al-Amdi, Ahmed al-Amdi. A United Airlines mechanic was called by a flight attendant who stated the crew had been murdered and the plane hijacked. American Airlines Flight 77 Pentagon. Hijackers, Hani Hanjour, Khalid al-Mihdhar, Majd Moqed, Nawaf al-Hazmi, Salim al-Hazmi. Two hijackers, Hani Hanjour and Majd Moqed, were identified by clerks as having bought single, first-class tickets for Flight 77 from Advanced Travel Service in Totowa, New Jersey with $1,842.25 in cash. Renee May, a flight attendant on Flight 77, used a cell phone to call her mother in Las Vegas. She said her flight was being hijacked by 6 individuals who had moved them to the rear of the plane. Unlike the other flights, there was no report of stabbings or bomb threats. According to the 9/11 Commission report, it is possible that pilots were not stabbed to death and were sent to the rear of the plane. One of the hijackers, most likely Hanjour, announced on the intercom that the flight had been hijacked. Passenger Barbara Olson called her husband, Theodore Olson, the Solicitor General of the United States, stating the flight had been hijacked and the hijackers had knives and box cutters. 2 of the passengers had been on the FBI's terrorist alert list, Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. United Airlines Flight 93. Hijackers, Ziad Jarrah, Ahmed al-Haznawi, Ahmed al-Nami, Saeed al-Amdi. Passenger Jeremy Glick stated that the hijackers were Arabic-looking, wearing red headbands, and carrying knives. Spoken messages from Ziad Jarrah intended for passengers were also thought mistakenly broadcast over the air traffic control system. Jarrah is also heard on the cockpit voice recorder. In addition, DNA samples submitted by his girlfriend were matched to remains recovered in Shanksville. Investigation. Before the attacks, FBI agent Robert Wright, Jr. had written vigorous criticisms of FBI's alleged incompetence in investigating terrorists residing within the United States. Wright was part of the Bureau's Chicago Counterterrorism Task Force and involved in Project Vulgar Betrayal, which was linked to Yassin al-Qadi. According to James Bamford, the NSA had picked up communications of al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi back in 1999, but had been hampered by internal bureaucratic conflicts between itself and the CIA, and did not do a full analysis of the information it passed on to the agency. For example, it only passed the first names on, Nawaf and Khalid. Bamford also claims that the CIA's Alex station knew that al-Mihdhar was planning to come to New York as far back as January 2000. Doug Miller, one of 3 FBI agents working inside the CIA station, tried to send a message to the FBI to alert them about this, so they could put al-Mihdhar on a watch list. His CIA boss, Tom Wilshire, deputy station chief, allegedly denied permission to Miller. Miller asked his associate Mark Rossini for advice. Rossini pressed Wilshire's deputy but was again rebuffed. Bamford also claims that al-Mihdhar and Hazmi wound up living with Abdusattar Sheikh for a time to save money. Sheikh was, coincidentally, an FBI informant, but since they never acted suspiciously around him, he never reported them. The CIA Bangkok station told Alex station that Hazmi had gone to Los Angeles. None of this information made it back to the FBI headquarters. Attacks. Within minutes of the attacks, the Federal Bureau of Investigation opened the largest FBI investigation in United States history, Operation Pentbomb. The suspects were identified within 72 hours because few made any attempt to disguise their names on flight and credit card records. They were also among the few non-U.S. citizens and nearly the only passengers with Arabic names on their flights, enabling the FBI to identify them using such details as dates of birth, known or possible residences, visa status, and specific identification of the suspected pilots. On September 27, 2001, the FBI released photos of the 19 hijackers, along with information about many of their possible nationalities and aliases. The suspected hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Lebanon and Egypt. The passport of Satam al-Suqami was reportedly recovered a few blocks from where the World Trade Center's Twin Towers once stood. A passerby picked it up and gave it to a NYPD detective shortly before the towers collapsed. The passports of two other hijackers, Ziad Jarrah and Saeed al-Amdi, were recovered from the crash site of United Airlines Flight 93 in Pennsylvania, and a fourth passport, that of Abdulaziz al-Amari, was recovered from luggage that did not make it onto American Airlines Flight 11. According to the 9/11 Commission report, 26 al-Qaeda terrorist conspirators sought to enter the United States to carry out a suicide mission. In the end, the FBI reported that there were 19 hijackers in all, 5 on 3 of the flights, and 4 on the 4th. On September 14, 3 days after the attacks, the FBI announced the names of 19 persons. After a controversy about an earlier remark, U.S. Homeland Secretary Janet Napolitano stated in May 2009 that the 9/11 Commission found that none of the hijackers entered the United States through Canada. Nawaf al-Hazmi and Hani Hanjour attended the Dar al-Harur Islamic Center in Falls Church, Virginia in early April 2001, where the Imam Anwar al-Awlaki preached. Through interviews with the FBI, it was discovered that al-Awlaki has previously met Nawaf al-Hazmi several times while the two lived in San Diego. At the time, Hazmi was living with Khalid al-Mihdhar, another 9/11 hijacker. The hijackers of the same plane often had very strong ties, as many of them attended school together or lived together prior to the attacks. Cases of mistaken identity. Soon after the attacks and before the FBI had released the pictures of all the hijackers, several reports appeared claiming that some of the men named as hijackers on September 11 were alive and were feared to have been victims of identity theft. See also: Notes and references. Notes. References: James Bamford. Shadow Factory. Doubleday, 9/11 Commission Report. National Commission on Terrorist Attacks upon the United States. 2004. Retrieved September 30, 2008. Appendix. 9/11 and Terror Travel. National Commission on Terrorist Attacks upon the United States. 2004. Retrieved September 30, 2008. Ost, Stefan. Der Spiegel Magazine. Inside 9/11, What Really Happened? Schnibbern, Court. Macmillan. ISBN A0-312-98748 Exer, Burke, Jason. Al-Qaeda, The True Story of Radical Islam. IB Tauris. ISBN A1-85043-666-5, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Hijackers Timeline. NEFA Foundation. Retrieved October 6, 2008. Fowler, Yusri. Fielding, Nick. Masterminds of Terror, The Truth Behind the Most Devastating Terrorist Attack the World Has Ever Seen. Arcade. ISBN A1-55970-708-9. McDermott, Terry. Perfect Soldiers, The Hijackers, Who They Were, Why They Did It. HarperCollins. ISBN A0-06-058469-6. Smith, Paul J. Terrorism and Violence in Southeast Asia, Transnational Challenges to States and Regional Stability. M. E. Sharp. ISBN A0-7656-1433-2. Wright, Lawrence. The Looming Tower, Al-Qaeda and the Road to 9/11. Alfred A. North. ISBN A0-375-41486. Exer, external links, FBI press release at the Wayback Machine, September 27, 2001.